As Pete Rose chased the ghost of Tai Cobb this season, he kept glancing over his shoulder at a real spirit, Marge Schott, owner of the Cincinnati Reds.
What an afternoon here at Wrigley Field. There's a hit! He's only 2 away! Holy cow!
Marge Schott wanted him to get the tie-breaking hit at home.
I was in a sort of a situation where I didn't want to disappoint everybody, but I had 30,000 yelling here, and one lady sitting back in Cincinnati. Every time I get in a hit, kicking her dog. So, I was in a tough situation. I didn't know what to do.
What are you trying to tell me, Shatsy? Huh? Rose doesn't let you play? Is that what you're upset about? Huh?
It was Marge Schott, rookie owner, who brought Pete Rose back to Cincinnati after a half-dozen years away from the place of his birth and greatest triumphs.
Hey, hi, Big Shot. How are you? Okay, we're going to be #1 after this weekend?
We hope so.
Huh? I think it's been very good that he's been player manager. My main thrust was Pete Rose should have never left this town, and my main thing was we should have Pete back to get his record in the Cincinnati uniform where he belongs.
Margaret Underwear Schott is a third-generation Cincinnatian. Her grandfather and father were leading manufacturers of cigar boxes. She has always been rich, and she's always been a go-getter.
Well, I used to play ball with the boys, okay? Or we'd go out and paint the fire plugs, and then we'd paint each other. I went to a convent school, which is great background for baseball in the automobile business.
That's sarcastic?
Yeah, that's a jest. French and Latin and astronomy. And so was our background in school. And we used to play hockey. I mean, you turn a bunch of women loose with a hard ball and wooden sticks, it's lethal. And
Marge was one of 5 daughters, the one her father called Butch,
family,
and took downtown to work with him at the plant.
And so I'd go down the plant, and he'd tell everybody, Butch can run every machine in this place. My mother used to think I'd come home without 2 hands, But none of the other girls wanted to go down because it was dirty and wasn't good. And Dad raised us.
She married Charles Schott, who also came from one of Cincinnati's German-American dynasties.
We were bred where the woman stays at home, and that's it, and she waits on the husband, and we were just bred that way. And when Charlie died, nobody knew how to spell Mez. 18 or 19 years ago, women just weren't in business. When Charlie was living, I was the typical second-guessing wife. I wouldn't have done it that way. And suddenly when he died, people turned to me, and it was like, okay, big mouth, now what do you want to do? Johnny, are you checking that check that guy wants to make out?
What Big Mouth did was this. She convinced General Motors to let her keep her dead husband's Buick franchise. That was a rarity back in the 1960s. And then she added a Chevrolet dealership of her own.
Who's going to help these girls? You're getting the clean-shaven guy.
Hi. I'm Barbara.
I hope they take good care of you, okay?
Thanks, Marge.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Marge Schott. I don't know about the rest of you, but with all the problems facing us today, I think it's about time we stand up and show the world we believe in ourselves by buying American-made products. Let's start keeping our
She sells cars her way.
This way, we'll protect the future of our children, the beauty of our land, and our American way of life. If you love this
But she
country,
still
you'll
remembered the
love
lessons her
us.
father had taught to Butch. At the age of 56, Marge Schott goes to the back of the shop where it's dirty.
Hi, Richard. Did you get your tickets? Huh? Did you enjoy it? Okay. Did you enjoy it? What are you eating? Huh?
You had said that you wanted 10 boys.
Yeah.
Why?
I guess because I came from a family of girls, and I just think boys are so much more open-minded, and I don't know, I guess because we were all a family of
You
girls.
like men better than women.
Oh, well, sure. But
Wait a minute. Oh, sure.
well, I think, I guess I've been raised more, in a man's world, and I'm just not the type that, I guess because I haven't had children and, just don't want to talk about the diapers. I think it's great, It's just that I'm much more stimulated talking to men than I am talking to women.
Hi, Daisy. How are you, honey? Nice to see you.
4 years ago, Marge Schott bought into a predominantly male industry. She became a limited partner of the Reds. Last year, she bought the whole team.
It was getting close to Christmas time, and I thought, what a great present this would be to the city.
Shotzi! Shotzi! Shush! Shotzi! Behave yourself.
She was no absentee owner, and her St. Bernard, Shotzi, became the official team mascot.
We gonna become #1 this weekend? We gonna be #1 after this weekend?
Come on, Shotzi, right up here. Hop. Get in, come on. Get in close now. Close, Shotzi. Get in there, right up against the rail for her. Whoa.
Sometimes she upstaged her team.
How's that? Huh? Well, thank you for wishing me good luck, right? You come to a ball game? Well, you make them take you to a ball game, huh? You gotta go to a ball game, right? Well, you got Shotzi's autograph, too. What do you think about that? Huh? What do you think of it? Well, we have to wait on Pete's, okay?
She became most visible in the stands.
I just think it's important for the fans to know that there is somebody here really interested in the Reds and an owner that really cares. Our fans are dynamite.
We love you. Okay, man. Good deal. Hi, guys.
But after the game is over, Marge Schott goes home alone.
It is home to me. I know that sounds silly, but it's home to me, and because that's where I used to spend all my time when Charlie was living, and it's just home to me. I can have the dogs out here, and I like the serenity of it, and the because I like yard work, I really do.
You can take care of yourself.
I can take care of myself. That's right.
Is that still a disappointment that you don't have children, that you don't have sons?
Yeah, sure is. You know, I'd love to have 10 big guys to come in and say, Mom, we'll do battle for you. Yeah.
But you have these 25 guys in those red hats.
Well, they're doing battle for me.
If you had had those 10 strong boys to do battle for you, I wonder if you would have done battle so much for yourself and accomplished so much.
Well, you might have a point there. I don't know, maybe I would have ended up with wimps, which would make me feel twice as bad, too.
Would Pete Rose be a worthy son?
Sure, because he's a go-getter and he's a doer. And he's a person that I think Pete, if he put his mind to it, could probably succeed in a lot of things.
Last Wednesday, Pete Rose succeeded in breaking Tai Cobb's record. To the delight of Cincinnati and Marge Schott, he did it during a home game.
Thanks for stopping. Some night, huh?
On this very night, 10 years ago, along this same stretch of road, in a dense fog, just like this, I saw the worst accident I ever seen. There was this sound, like a garbage truck dropped off the Empire State Building. And when they finally pulled the driver's body from the twisted, burning wreck, it looked like this. Yes, sir. That was the worst accident I ever seen.
I get off right up here.
Have a nice day.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
School. Sat in the back of the class with my hand up. 2 hours security guards grabbed my man up. Threw him in detention, 5-day suspension. Cause he said the teacher was lying about the Indians. Trying to dumb us with the story of Columbus and brain numbers. When all you see that came from us. They called me Cobb and I learned about God. The tag and rule logo on the book margin. And just like a New York riot, she stood quiet and asked me, could she speak to me in private? Mr. Diggs, you acting like a fool. You know these rules that we have in these schools. You and your friends think y'all cool cause you walk through these halls with the 12 jewels. Fast shoelaces and tricolor sneakers. I stood like a man, then I questioned my teacher. Why don't we speak about the wisdom of the sages and how did Europe black out in the dark ages? And when they got light, did they whitewash the pages? In the Inquisition, why was Christian thrown in cages? And why would they try to destroy the nation with the birth control and brain control fluoridation? And why it seems like half the school is racist? She said things to the office, and we about faces.
Headed my paper with the proper title. Who wrote the Holy Quran, the Bible? Being that person with the set ability makes me responsible for the uncivil. The next morning as I entered the building, a cipher going on in the guards' building. My hot chocolate spilling. After 5th period, let's cut out. Go back some chicks up at Tilden. Wonderful, had the rental. Nobody beats the biz, instrumental, attracting a few. Nothing really poppin', let's slide the Clara Barton. Bumped into a few good brothers from August Martin. Mentioned Norman Thomas. Had chicks that'll hit flicks and take you shopping. True indeed. I thought Sarah J had the one that I need. Mary Bertram, Julia Richmond, is it fashion? Eli Whitney, sing the song with me. Sisters from Washington, Irv, swing her arm. Brothers and Jeff, put a fire alarm. Rude ones from Erasmus, Westinghouse, money makers, Maxwell, Thunder hip shakers.
If you're not a baseball fan, hold on. Before this story's over, we may make you one, or at least make you a fan of the Queen of the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds. It wasn't too long ago when the Reds were quite literally in the red, and there was talk that after almost 120 years of being a major league city, Cincinnati might lose the franchise. The owners wanted to sell the team or move it, or both. To a rich widow and Cincinnati native named Marge Schott, that was unthinkable. And when none of the local big boys raised a hand to save the team, she put her money where her civic pride was and made herself Queen of the Reds.
This is really what I like to feel is our Christmas gift to the people of the city of Cincinnati. And I hope they're as happy as I am. God, I think I'm going to cry. This is why women shouldn't be in anything, I guess.
It was practically the night before Christmas, 4 years ago, you went and bought yourself a baseball team. Why?
I just kept waiting for one of the guys to step up, and I waited and waited. And you know around Christmas time how women do, they go out and buy everything as they charge it, right? I think that might have been one of the reasons. It was probably the worst business decision anybody could have ever made. I bought it with my heart. It was a decision of the heart.
60-year-old Margaret Schott, a woman renowned for taking up hobbies and dropping them, really paid for this one. $12 million of her own money for a controlling interest in the Reds.
Everybody wants to be a winner, you know, and I guess an ambition of every owner, I know it's my ambition, is to win a World Series so I can have one of those big rings like all the men in baseball have.
Marge Schott can hardly plead poverty, a familiar complaint from rich ball club owners. She lives in a magnificent spread just outside Cincinnati, a South Fork in the Midwest. She was a well-cared-for housefrau who knew zilch about business when, 20 years ago, her husband Charlie died. Charlie Schott ran a lot of companies.
If he had left me some coupons to Clip or department store, some would have been great. But he left really strange things, like brick plants, block plants, pig iron, unfinished shopping centers. I bluffed for about 2 years, you know. I wouldn't know what I was signing half the time, but I'd pick on little things, you know. How do they know? I didn't know. And when the accountants first sat me down, I was so nervous that they showed me the financial statement, and I didn't know what to say. And I said, oh, well, I guess I'm a millionaire. They said, lady, you're looking at the debit side, not the asset side. You're at your best when you know nothing, you know, because you don't know what can happen to you. Now I'm so smart, I'm scared of everything.
The business that scared her most was Charlie Schott's GM dealership. When she took it over, her own managers tried to keep her out of the place. She had to learn to be pushy. She learned.
For $129.
Yeah, but I told them to put the advertise to find out what the price was if you order one.
Okay, we'll do it.
Why don't we do that?
We'll get that squared away.
Okay. And everybody was gone last night when I called, too.
For 2 years, she battled General Motors, who were uncomfortable with a woman, a widow, running a major dealership. She pulled every stunt in the book to sell cars. She presented new cars in her own living room. She used dogs to pitch cars. GM grudgingly saw the light.
Suddenly this dumb woman in the car business was selling more cars than any other dealer in the tri-state area.
She may not be so dumb. Under her ownership, the Reds have gone from a team deep in debt to a profitable winning club. It's more than a business.
Kind of like inheriting like 42 sons all of a sudden, you know. I think I'm one of the few owners that can give the players a hug or a kiss, because if another owner did it, I'm sure there'd be some talk.
Is that part of the kick, the kind of mother henning of these
I guess sort of, you know. And yet I've had criticism for that, too. Whenever we trade somebody, you know, I always feel bad that the guy has to leave town and take his wife and children, and the paper said, well, that's ridiculous, you know. But again, that's a woman talking.
The guy's a hero one day, and you're giving him a hug, and the next day you're having some man give him his walking papers.
Yeah, that's the way it works. That's the way I'm going to do it, Morley. I'll give him the hug, and the men can give him the walking papers.
Before you became the grande dame, the queen of the Reds, whatever, you were notorious for taking up hobbies and dropping them.
Well, we were never blessed with children, and people are so blessed that they have children. I hope they realize that. But I felt guilty, you know, because my friends were all producing and I wasn't. So it was like I had to really have a project, you know, every year.
All of Marge Schott's projects eat. There are the St. Bernards, once as many as 22, now just 2. Then there was her honeybee period.
We made great honey. Charlie figured those jars of honey cost about $500 a piece. And then I bought the steers.
The steers, otherwise known as fixed bulls. But somehow one bull wasn't fixed enough, and Marge Schott's cow became pregnant. So a few animals for decorative purposes became a herd. And there's the zoo. She's probably the most important benefactor the Cincinnati Zoo has. Hanging out in a zoo may well be the best kind of training for her latest project, the Ball Club. Another project that eats. Mainly, it eats money.
Who has a ball?
Oh, Mario.
Who has a catcher thing? Mario. Mario's a pitcher.
Yeah, and the catch is right in second base.
He better be a pitcher.
Last month, she moved the team into a new $5 million spring training complex in Plant City, Florida. Plant Cityans had heard all about Marge, but seeing her in action was something else again.
You kids ready? Hot to trot? You think I'm okay? Oh, yeah.
It's just nothing women can't do.
We're showing them tonight. Thank you.
And then there's that curious relationship between Marge and her player manager, Pete Edward Rose.
Say something.
Something.
The same Pete Rose, a Cincinnati native who has an off-ramp named after him.
Here in Cincinnati in a worldwide television.
The same Pete Rose who Marge brought back to Cincinnati to break Tai Cobb's record for most hits in a lifetime.
2-1 pitch. From Shout into left center. There it is. Rose has eclipsed Cobb. That's number 4,192.
For in this town, Marge Schott may be the grande dame, but Pete Rose walks on water. He may be the only manager in baseball who the owner wouldn't dare fire. Could you do it? Could you fire?
Probably not. I'd probably have to get a man to do it, you know.
The first year I took over, we went from last to second. But we've been there ever since. We've been there three straight years, which isn't that bad. But Marge says she's tired of being a bridesmaid, so we got to do something about that. All we want is another wedding in Cincinnati. That's all we want.
A few years back, Rose talked Marge into buying an expensive pitcher named John Denny, whose arm later went bad. Now she must pay Denny about $400,000 not to play.
And I said, well, can he do yard work or what? You know, and they looked at me like I was crazy. I said, no, you just send him home. And I thought, this is nuts. You know, maybe you could sell a car, do something. But they don't do it that way. You just send him home and send him the money.
On the one hand, here you have Pete, the Charlie Hustle of the Big Red Machine.
That's right.
Now he's in the position of having to kind of coddle guys who are earning $1 million a year and say, well, they're a little bit hurt and they don't want to play.
I said, well, tell them to play anyway. He said, well, they could sue you. I said, I don't care. I said, I've got a better suggestion, Pete. I said, why don't we get a sign and get a room? Put a sign up called the Wimp Room. And then when they can't, you just say, go in the Wimp Room. Well, we didn't do that. I don't know if he thought, but that was my suggestion to him.
She told me once she'd like to see a system of paying players in which they got so much for a single, so much for a double, so much for a triple home run. They lost so much for a strikeout.
Don't worry, forget about it. It won't work.
How is she about money, about spending money on ball players?
I think she's great. She might not be great about spending money on other things, but hey, I'm the highest paid manager in the history of baseball, and we got a couple of guys that make $1 million, a couple of guys that make close to $1 million. Marge is not a big shot during the game. She don't sit up in the air-conditioned boxes. You know, she sits right down there and eats peanuts and drinks beer and smokes cigarettes and signs autographs during the game. And I just hope someday she don't get hit with a line drive when she's signing an autograph. That's the only thing I worry about.
Okay, big boy. See ya.
On this particular afternoon, she sits with A. Bartlett Giamatti, who gave up the presidency of Yale University to become the president of baseball's National League. Listening to Marge may have given him some second thoughts.
Should we throw the game for Morley?
No, Marge, we don't throw the game, even for CBS. We don't throw games, Marge. No, Marge, the idea of throwing games is anathema to baseball.
I know, right? Is this a girl bat boy or a boy that needs a goddamn haircut?
Well, Marge, it's a question you ought to take up with the young person itself.
You got it. Is that a boy or a girl?
It's a young man with a modern haircut.
He'll never be out here again with long hair sitting like that.
All right.
I'm serious. Hey, if my players
What if a player wanted to grow a mustache or a beard on your team? What do you got against facial hair trimmed and neat?
Hey, look.
And
I am for the clean. It's a tradition in Cincinnati. It's going to remain that way.
No one in Cincinnati's ever had a mustache?
No. Well,
so much for William Howard Taft.
Maybe 100 years ago.
Oh.
I know you have one, boy, but that's okay. You're from Yale.
Marge, you're killing me.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Clearly, she's getting the most out of the life she's been left to lead, even though it was never the life she really wanted.
I've been very fortunate to have survived, let's put it that way. I think it's very frightening when you're suddenly left alone. It's even frightening today, you know.
Rich or poor, it's frightening.
Rich or poor, and I, particularly for a woman, the insecurity of it, you know. You're always worried, you know, something's going to happen to you because you don't have that big guy next to you to take care of you.
So tomorrow afternoon, the Queen of the Reds will preside over another opening day, along with 52,000 of the faithful, and the dog, and the legend, and those guys in the red and white uniforms who'll try for one more wedding in Cincinnati.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
All getting set for the World Series starting tomorrow, and our Greg Gumbel joins us now with one woman who's especially ready to play ball. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Paula. I'm doing fine, thank you. An interesting woman, too, indeed. Game 1 of the World Series between the Cincinnati Reds and the Oakland Athletics is tomorrow night in Riverfront Stadium. The A's are heavily favored, but the Reds have a not-so-secret weapon, their owner, Marge Schott. Shortly after the Cincinnati Reds stormed the field as National League champions Friday night, Marge Schott took a moment to express her true feelings.
God, I gave the veil to my elephant and went on a honeymoon, and now I've won this, right?
If you didn't know Marge Schott, that might sound strange. But once you meet her, you get used to hearing things like that.
This is really what I like to feel is our Christmas gift to the people of the city of Cincinnati.
Marge, everybody calls her Marge, bought controlling interest in the Reds just before Christmas in 1984. One of baseball's most colorful, upfront, and accessible owners, she avoids the luxury skybox, preferring the company of the everyday fan.
I've been outside for 5 years, and I haven't had one bad experience. And the little kids come down, and you know, and the moms have come and said it meant a lot. You talked to my child, and and they come down for Shotzi's paw print. That's why they really come down. What are you trying to tell me, Shotzi? Huh?
Her St. Bernard, Shotzi, is always by her side, something of a trademark with her, and one which rubs fans both ways.
I think she's meddling too much with the stupid dog. I think it's getting ridiculous. We're getting embarrassed across the country with the dog.
I like her dog.
Some people say they look alike and they act alike and everything else. So, you know, she gets a little carried away with, you know, Shotzi.
Shotzi, behave yourself.
Marge Schott is 59 years old. She grew up rich in Cincinnati, and at age 22, married an even richer man. But things changed dramatically in 1968. Her husband, Charles, died suddenly, and when she tried to take over his Buick dealership, General Motors tried to stop her.
Well, if they had said, we want you to carry on as a dealer, I would have said, are you nuts? I don't want to be a car dealer. But I guess when they sort of stood up and to me, that's when I got that feeling like I always get.
It took 2.5 years, but GM finally relented, and under her hands-on leadership,
Who's going to help these girls?
sales rose by 40%. That lesson in corporate hardball opened her eyes and prepared her for more hardball and resistance when she laid out $12 million for the Reds 6 seasons ago.
I'm not ashamed of the job I've done, but it is a boys' network. There's no getting around it, and but at least I can entertain them, okay, if nothing else.
Her first move as owner was brilliant, bringing Pete Rose back to the team, making him the Reds' player manager so he could break Tai Cobb's all-time hit record. Pete broke that record and a lot of people's hearts when he was banned from baseball for life last summer.
Pete's always been a star, you know, and just got in too deep in things he shouldn't have, and but I don't feel any anger towards Pete, you know. I feel more sorry for him than I do anger.
With the Pete Rose affair almost forgotten, the Reds are now focusing on their first championship series since 1976, and Marge Schott is looking to come away a winner.
Well, we realized part way to the dream, but I always said I'd love to have one of those big rings that only men can wear, but I'll wear one anyway.
Yeah. Paula, perhaps the best story about Marge Schott this season. Someone rubbed some hair from Shotzi, the dog, on Lou Piniella, and then Cincinnati went on a major league winning streak. So ever since then, it's been a good luck charm, and when they go on the road, Lou carries some in his pocket, or they send him some. By the end of the World Series, this is going to be one bare dog.
Yeah, I'll say so. So what does Shotzi have to say about the World Series?
I think Shotzi just kind of barks around.
And what do you have to say?
I will say
We take
this.
your advice very seriously.
Yes, I'm sure you do. I would think that that it's going to be a more competitive series than a lot of people think. People think that the Oakland A's are going to take this in a cakewalk. I don't think so. I think the Cincinnati Reds have the best bullpen in baseball, and I think Oakland may win it, but it may go 6, maybe even 7 games. But I've been wrong before.
Very rarely. We're counting on it.
Pressure is building on Major League Baseball owners to investigate one of their own for alleged racism. The Anti-Defamation League called on baseball's executive council to make clear that it stands against bigotry following comments attributed to the owner of the Cincinnati Reds. Bruce Morton reports on the national pastime and racism.
But I'm just shocked, and I just hope that people don't believe all this sleazy stuff they read, because that's not me at all.
Marge Schott, the rich and controversial owner of the Cincinnati Reds. She's responding to allegations by former Reds employees filed in a lawsuit that she's a racist who called Jews sneaky and labeled two former Red stars, Eric Davis and Dave Parker, quote, million-dollar niggers, unquote.
Marge Schott's a very wealthy lady with a lot of power, and yet still her views are, about blacks and minorities is about as low as they can go.
But Davis and other blacks on the team say Schott never used racial slurs to them. Only one Reds front office employee out of 45 is black, although Schott just hired a new Hispanic manager, Cuban Tony Perez.
I've never been a racist in my life, and I explained that in there to them, and it's been very hurtful to me.
But look at Schott's own deposition in that lawsuit. Have you ever used the word nigger? Sure. Very seldom do I use the word. Is it possible you referred to Martin Luther King Day as Nigger Day? Anything's possible. And Schott said she keeps a swastika armband at home.
I think people got the wrong picture of Al Campanis.
5 years ago, Dodger executive Al Campanis was fired for making disparaging comments about blacks. Clifford Alexander, a consultant to Major League Baseball on minority hiring, says front offices have changed since then.
As far as minority hiring is concerned, when you put all 26 teams together, when we started work 5 years ago, they were 2% of all the front office jobs. As of now, they are 16%. That's dramatic progress.
Sociologist Harry Edwards sees the Schott flap and sports in general as symptoms of a racism which runs through all of American life.
The major difference between me and the brother who shines shoes down at the Greyhound bus station is that in far too many cases he is simply regarded as a nigger, whereas I'm regarded as a Dr. Nigger because of my Ivy League PhD.
The lawsuit against Schott has been dismissed, but that's being appealed. The baseball commissioner's office says the allegations are a matter of concern. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, a bloody coup attempt to overthrow the government of a South American nation. And will the next mayor of Los Angeles please stand up?
The faults are capable of generating major earthquakes. As the owners of the Major League Baseball teams meet today, an unwelcome spotlight shines on one of their number, the owner of the Cincinnati Reds. Bruce Morton reports from Louisville.
Baseball's winter meeting opens today with everyone talking about Cincinnati Reds owner Marge Schott and the charges she's used racial epithets about blacks and Jews.
I think she's a wonderful lady. I really do. Now, whether she said those things or not, I don't know. I'm just telling you how I feel about her. I think she's a great woman.
Schott herself said she has used the word nigger, but very seldom. She denies she ever called two of her former players million-dollar niggers.
No, not at all. I just said million-dollar babies, but not that. To me, that's it's always been a demeaning word, and it's not part of my vocabulary.
Since the charges surfaced, Schott has been trying to make friends with the black community. In Cincinnati last night, she was at a dinner sponsored by the National Council of Negro Women. The owners may act on the Schott charges this week, or they may simply say their investigation is continuing. Minority front office hiring is up from 2 to 16% in baseball over the last 5 years.
On the whole, the picture in baseball is better than in other sports.
But there is still far to go. Baseball sponsored this job fair here over the weekend. The rows of faces were lopsidedly male and white. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Louisville, Kentucky.
In Louisville today, owners of the Major League Baseball teams wound up off-season meetings that dealt with as much with charges of racism as trades and free agents. Cincinnati's Marge Schott publicly tried to make amends for admitted racist remarks, but also said the problem didn't start with her. Correspondent Bruce Morton has the story from Louisville.
Reds president Marge Schott.
The Reds' embattled owner made a surprise appearance before reporters at baseball's winter meetings to say, "I'm sorry."
I know in my heart that I'm not a racist or bigot. I acknowledge that in the past I have on occasion made insensitive remarks which I know hurt other people. On those occasions, it was my mouth, but not my heart speaking.
Baseball's investigation of the charges Mrs. Schott used racially abusive language about blacks and Jews is still underway.
We're not going to hurry it. We're going to be complete, but it won't be a month.
The procedure that we're following
has been done as expeditiously as possible and as sensitively as possible.
Schott made one other point today. She is a symptom, not a cause.
Minority issues have been present in baseball long before I came to the game.
That's the one point on which Schott and the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who has been protesting baseball's racial record, agree.
We must not be allowed to see Marge Schott as a scapegoat for the sins of institutional racism.
Major League Baseball says it has made progress.
I would say in the front office there has been some progress, and we need to make more.
Jackson, who had what he called an inconclusive meeting with some owners, is threatening a baseball boycott.
When the baseball season opens in April, when it comes to going in that stadium, the number must be 0.
Marge Schott's case is simple. Find out what she said and decide what to do about it. Baseball's overall problems with race are tougher and will take longer to solve. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Louisville.
2 weeks before spring training opens for pitchers and catchers, big league baseball owners met today to decide whether to take one of their own heavy hitters out of the game. As Linda Tyrer reports, the issue is racism.
Cincinnati Reds owner Marge Schott showed off new team uniforms today, but may have to sit out the season. Major League Baseball's Executive Council, meeting for most of the day behind closed doors, is expected to announce that Schott will be suspended for 1 year, barred from day-to-day operations and decision-making because of alleged racist comments. A former employee who was suing Schott first made the allegations public, accusing her of discriminatory hiring practices and making racist slurs, among them calling 2 former star players, Dave Parker and Eric Davis, quote, "my $1 million niggers." Schott admits making off-color remarks but says she's not a racist, and her attorney vows to fight a suspension in court. One of her most outspoken critics says Schott is only part of a larger problem.
While there must be some reprimand and rehabilitation for Marge Schott, she must neither be made a martyr nor a scapegoat.
The Marge Schott controversy has reignited the issue of racism in professional team sports. While blacks dominate the playing field, only a few hold top coaching jobs. And critics say they've hit a glass ceiling in the front office where hiring and management decisions are made. According to the National Rainbow Coalition, in Major League Baseball, 8% of front office employees are black. In the NFL, 7% are black. In the NBA, also 7% are black. Filmmakers Spike Lee and other influential blacks have been holding strategy sessions to come up with game plans to put more blacks in management.
The players, they're the slaves. They're slaves. I mean, they're high-priced slaves, but the power is in ownership.
The issue of racism off the playing field will not go away with the decision on Marge Schott. Black leaders say they'll step up the pressure on team owners. And Jesse Jackson is calling for a baseball boycott if nothing changes by opening day in April. Linda Tyra, CBS News, New York.
It is the first full day of the baseball season, though in a break with tradition. The first game was actually played last night. The St. Louis Cardinals beat the Cincinnati Reds 6-4. But it wasn't just the final score that had the Reds owner steam. That's just one of the things we'll talk about with Marge Schott this morning. She returns from a year's suspension, and she joins us from Cincinnati this morning. Morning, Marge.
Morning, honey.
So there was a half-full stadium last night, no bunting up or anything like that. What was the deal?
Well, last night we had ESPN, but that was their opening day. Our opening day will be today with our traditional we're having a parade that's gone on 75 years, marching to opening day, and that's a big thing. And so we're looking forward to today. We also lost last night, so those boys better win today or they're in deep trouble, just like with their mother, okay?
These things have not changed in a year, it sounds like. Let me talk to you about coming off of this year's suspension. You were required to attend diversity training sessions. Did you learn anything in those sessions?
Well, they're interesting, honey, but be quite frank, I'm, 65. I've never felt that anything about diversity. I love people. I'm a people person. And but fine, I understand it helps some people, and it was interesting, but it was no big thing in my life. Shotzi didn't go though.
Understood. This is a new shot. See, I will get back to the dog
This
in
is
just a...
Hezakya.
I will get to the dog in a second.
Okay.
Do you still maintain that your suspension was undeserved?
Well, it's a little different thing in baseball. It was a very hard thing for me to go through because I'm a hands-on operator, and I'm a big, well, not so much a fan of baseball, but the fan of the history it is in this country. And yes, it's very difficult to have somebody say, no, no, bye-bye. And, but you go through things and you get over it. I guess I don't push this Mez stuff or this woman stuff, but Charlie died 27 years ago. So I've been around the bend on quite a few things.
You feel like this would not have happened were you a man?
Well, I shouldn't say that, okay? But that's what a lot of people tell me, but I'm not saying it. Okay?
I guess I want to let this go, but I just want to pursue it one more second. It's not a sadder but wiser. Is this a wiser Marge Schott who is back then in baseball after a year's suspension?
Well, I don't know if it's wiser, but it just was an unusual situation and something that I've gotten through. And but I hope we all get wiser as we get older, whatever. And but I know how I am inside. I know how I feel about people, and that's the way it is.
Let's talk about baseball.
Okay.
Beyond, you lost last night, and there have been things in the press in Cincinnati already that Davy Johnson's days may be numbered if the Reds don't get off to a fast start. Assuming the Reds play well and things are going along, do you think there's going to be a strike in September?
Oh, I hope there's not a strike in September. I just hope the players realize that they're a big part of baseball, too. Of course, they're the expensive part of baseball, okay? We're the cheap part of baseball. But to me, we should just all realize that we have something that's very traditional. We're selling the 125th anniversary this year. In fact, we celebrated that last year, and so I called up Major League Baseball. They had these patches at 125 years. I said, guys, I'm going to look kind of stupid because we did this all last year, and we are the oldest team. And I'm really very, very proud that they listened to me. And next thing you know, a couple days ago, we got a patch that had like a picture of, well, we have then 10 players, and it had 1896, 69 Cincinnati Red stockings. So we have a patch since we are the oldest and the first. And it made me very proud that Major League Baseball did that. And it's very traditional. And I don't know how we got them sewn on for last night. I guess we found maybe all the wives sewed them on, okay.
30 seconds I have left. You are excited to be back?
Yes, excited because I'm a very fan-oriented person. I feel without the fans, we have absolutely nothing. And that's the dearest thing in my heart are people that come and support us and the people that love baseball.
And congratulations on the new dog, which I understand is a relative of the movie
Shotzi.
dog, right? Is
Shotzi.
this a relative of Beethoven?
You want Uncle Beethoven to be mad at you?
There you
She's
go.
hiding.
There's Beethoven.
No, she's Beethoven's niece. That's her uncle.
All right, and she's down there somewhere. There. Oh, we almost.
Shotzi,
okay.
come on.
All right. Very good. Marge,
well.
Thank you very much for joining us today. The
Okay, honey.
Best of luck
very nice to be with you.
to the Reds and the fans in Cincinnati.
And good luck to everybody.
All righty.
Now,
Giselle?
baseball's home run happy Oakland A's were at it again. The A's homered 4 times against Seattle. Geronimo Barroa's 23rd home run scored 2 to tie the game at 5 in the 3rd inning. Eric Young's 13th moved Oakland in front in the 7th. The A's lead the majors with 150 home runs after a 7-6 win. Boston blew a 9-2 lead against the Yankees and trailed 11-9 until Troy O'Leary doubled home 2 runs to tie the game in the 9th. Jeff Fry singled in the game winner. Boston won 12-11, ending John Wetland's record-setting streak of 24 straight saves. On the scoreboard, the Orioles rallied to beat the Blue Jays. It was the Rangers over the Angels. The Royals got past the Indians, the Twins topped the White Sox, and the Brewers edged the Tigers. In the National League, San Diego scored 3 times in the 8th at Los Angeles. Jody Reed singled home the run, which gave the Padres its 5-4 win. Elsewhere, the Marlins handled the Astros. The Rockies beat the Giants for their 8th straight win. The Cardinals won at Cincinnati. The Mets edged the Phillies, and the Pirates were rained out in Chicago. Major League Baseball banned suspended Reds owner Marge Schott from Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. The new ban was prompted by Schott's recent memo to Reds employees, in which she said, quote, "I do not intend to disappear." The NBA's Orlando Magic re-signed forward Horace Grant for 5 years and $50 million. Free agent center Shaquille O'Neal has a new offer to consider. Today's Orlando Sentinel reports the Los Angeles Lakers will offer him a deal worth $117 million. Wrestler Bruce Baumgartner, a 2-time Olympic gold medal winner, will carry the United States flag when Atlanta's Olympics open on Friday. And Deion Sanders arrived at the Dallas Cowboys training camp in a $30,000 golf cart.
We got everything, man. We got air. We got, when you guys get on my nerves, we got the horn.
Yep, Deion's wheels come with a convertible top, a cooling system, including a spray mist, and a stereo system. And still ahead on the CBS Morning News, hearings in Washington focus on new concerns about airline safety that surfaced after the ValueJet crash.